Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar on leading AI product. Well, I thought I knew product leadership, roadmaps, OKRs, adoption metrics, team structures. I had it all figured out. Until less than a decade ago, I didn't. My team built an AI product in supply chain SaaS, and our first release, more than half the recommendations were wrong. I thought we were shipping a moonshot. We shipped uncertainty. The rules I had relied on for years broke overnight. There was no playbook. We had to write our own, unlearn, relearn, adapt, ship, succeed. And in the years since, I have watched more product leaders make the same mistakes, fall into the same traps. Because the truth is, the old rules of product leadership don't work in the age of AI. So today, I will walk you through the classic product leadership rules that break in the AI era and what to do instead. Real lessons, real traps, real ways to lead teams that build AI systems that learn, adapt, and deliver impact. So if you are a product leader stepping into AI, this session is for you. And this session will challenge what you thought you knew. And it will give you the confidence to lead without risking trust, time, and resources. A quick intro so you know where my perspectives come from. I've spent 18 plus years building deep tech, AI, and SaaS products across logistics, e-commerce, supply chain, manufacturing, and safety. I've led product at Zalando, co-founded an AI venture in manufacturing, and now I'm CPO at Buddywise, building AI for real-world safety. In the past, I have helped enterprise teams modernize supply chain and e-commerce operations with AI. In this journey, I have built products 0 to 1, and I have scaled them 1 to 100. I've also built and led product teams, small and large. And across all of these, I have seen incredibly experienced product leaders fall into the same AI traps. So today, I want to give you the playbook I wish I had. So about a decade ago, I was leading a product team in traditional SaaS e-commerce environment. I thought I knew how to run product, ship features really fast, iterate on the feedback, measure retention. Then I stepped into an AI-driven product and I realized everything I knew about product leadership had changed. Timelines, roadmaps, even success metrics, the old rules just didn't hold anymore. What we learned? We learned that AI doesn't behave like a traditional software. Traditional software is deterministic. AI systems, probabilistic. Traditional software relies on user feedback. AI systems rely on data feedback. Traditional roadmaps work on commitment. How many of times we have committed to delivering a feature next sprint, right? That's a commitment. However, AI roadmaps work on experimentation. This means the rules most of us build our careers on start to fail. At the end, if you are one of those product leaders who is transitioning from classic product leadership to building an AI product for the first time, this session will show you how to lead AI products confidently. And if you take the learnings back to your teams, you will avoid 80% of the traps that you are about to fall into. So let's walk through these shifts. Classic product leadership rules that break in the AI era and what to do instead. Let's look at the very first shift, deterministic to probabilistic, where outputs are uncertain even for the same input. So in classic products, features are deterministic. If you ship a login button, it either works or doesn't work. Same input, same output. In AI products, however, the outputs become probabilistic. The same input can produce different results, and accuracy also varies. For example, in classic e-commerce search, if you type running shoes, you will always see the same curated list. It is deterministic because the engineers and the product leaders decided the routes. On the other hand, look at Amazon's search results, which are probabilistic recommendations, not guaranteed outcomes. Type running shoes on Amazon, it shows slightly different results depending upon model updates, personalizations, and embeddings. Same input, completely different outputs. And there are risks to manage as well. This is very critical because, for example, fraud detection models, right? Fraud detection models might block 2% of the genuine e-commerce orders, a risk you must manage. And the job of the leader thus shifts to embracing uncertainty, monitoring probabilities, and communicating trade-offs to stakeholders. The mindset shift from control to guidance. So what does it mean? AI turns product work from certainty management into probability management. What this means for you is stop promising certainty and start managing probability ranges. The second shift is about from shipping features to training systems. So the product is now a continuously learning system, not a clockwork of feature shipping system. So in classical PM, the focus is almost always on shipping features like clockwork. However, in the AI era or in the world of AI products, the real product is the system that learns from data. Your real product is the system of continuous training and retraining. For example, a logistics route optimization engine only improves as more delivery data flows in. So leaders must prioritize data pipelines, not just feature lists. Similarly, in Gmail, spam detection is not a feature, but a learning system. Every time a user clicks on report spam, the model retrains. And every new spam pattern updates the pipeline. So the real product here is the learning system, data pipelines, model training, and feedback loops. And your roadmap now includes data quality, retraining cycles, and model monitoring, not just features. So in AI, shipping features matter less than growing the system's intelligence. So what this means for you, your roadmap must include data quality, retraining cycles, and model monitoring, and not just UI or workflow releases. Third shift is about shifting away from relying only on customer feedback to combining customer and data feedback because users can't always articulate why AI fails. So for example, in traditional products, the feedback comes from interviews or surveys. But for AI products, it often comes from mislabeled or missing data. For example, Netflix recommendations. Now, if you go and ask a user, the user may say, my recommendation is weird. But they will not tell you that the model overfit my kids' profiles, or they will not tell you that the training data misclassified my taste cluster. So you will learn more from click patterns, watch completion, dwell time, item co-occurrence data than from the user interviews. So for AI products, your most valuable feedback isn't interviews. It's click streams, dwell time, and model outputs. So you as a product leader must focus on data quality and ensure continuous monitoring of model inputs and outputs. So the most important feedback may never come directly from the users. Users describe symptoms. Data reveal causes. What this means for you? You must build systems that watch model inputs and outputs continuously, and feedback now lives inside your data. Shift number 4 is another one of those important ones, is where you transition from just measuring static business KPIs to dynamic performance metrics. So for example, your list of KPIs that you're monitoring and tracking will start adding model accuracy, fairness, drift alongside the business KPIs. In classic products, success is generally measured by, let's say, adoption, retention, revenue, etc. However, in AI product, we require additional metrics. Model accuracy, for example, false positive, false negatives, area under the curve, and so on. Latency, fairness, bias and explainability. Yeah, so quite a bit. So let's take Uber as an example. Now, Uber tracks traditional KPIs, trips, revenue, cancellations, and so on. However, they must also track AI KPIs, ETA accuracy, expected time of arrival accuracy, model drift, latency. So now if ETA accuracy drifts by even 15 seconds, cancellations will rise. So even if your UI hasn't changed at all. So a business KPI failure here usually traces back to a model performance issue, not just a product UI flaw. Hence, balancing these with traditional KPIs is very essential. So if one drifts, the other will collapse. The takeaway, AI products don't fail at the UI layer. They fail at the model layer. What this means for you, you now measure performance in two dimensions, business impact and model behavior. Shift number 5, owning features to cross-disciplinary orchestration. You as a product leader now must integrate AI, data engineering, and ethics. In classical PM, right? In a classical PM role, when you're managing a classical or traditional SaaS or e-commerce or some other product, you coordinate basically as a trio: engineers, product designers to ship products. However, in the world of building AI products, leaders also coordinate with data scientists, ML engineers, and legal and compliance teams. So for example, if you were building a LinkedIn feed ranking system or feed ranking kind of product, a single feed change requires coordinating with ML teams, data science teams, design teams, content safety teams, legal and trust teams, policy teams, and infra teams for latency. So shipping one feature requires cross-functional orchestration, not just a product trial. Your role expands. You stop managing features. Your leadership expands beyond features into systems, models, and governance. So the takeaway, AI PMs don't manage features. They conduct systems. What this means for you? Shift to conductor from operator. Shift number 6, from predictable timelines to iterative experimentations. I have made this mistake quite early on and really learned by burning my hands. Because in the AI world or in the AI product world, you can't guarantee AI outcomes until you test at scale. So let's talk about it. So in classical products, we can estimate delivery timelines with relatively high confidence, right? However, when building AI product, it introduces uncertainty because model performance can only be verified with experiments and real data. Let's take an example of Tesla Autopilot. Now, customers and executives always want a timeline. When will it work in all conditions? But let's say you, as a product leader at Tesla, you cannot promise how well the model will generalize to new cities. You cannot promise what edge cases will emerge, and you cannot promise how new sensor data behaves. So what will you do? You will run thousands of micro experiments each week before declaring readiness. So you can't commit to model outcomes. You can only commit to experiments. So as product leaders must shift from roadmap as a contract to roadmap as a hypothesis. So the takeaway here, with AI products, experiments are the roadmap. What this means for you, your roadmap shifts from delivering features to running experiments that de-risks the unknowns. Going to shift number 7. Now, shift number 7 talks about thinking about UX as the king, like everything, to UX plus AI model performance jointly being the king. What this means? This means that, in AI products, great design and UX isn't enough if the AI model underperforms. So in non-AI products, user experience drives adoption. So to give an example, think about stories in Snapchat. That one feature or user experience or UI or a feature basically drove a lot of adoption. It was then rolled out to Facebook and Instagram and also drove an equivalent impact. However, AI products combine UX with model performance, and even a great interface fails if predictions go wrong. Let's take an example of Google Photos. Now, the UX is very simple: search your photos. But let's say if the AI is not able to recognize faces or objects accurately, the UX here becomes irrelevant. The beautiful UX cannot compensate for mislabeled images, inaccurate clustering, or poor understanding of the context. So great UX cannot save a bad model. Performance and experience have to co-evolve. And hence, the leaders must balance design, robustness, and trustworthiness of AI output. So what's the takeaway here? In AI, trust is the new usability. What this means for you, design and model performance must be co-owned. You are optimizing trust, not just usability. Shift number 8. Now, competitive benchmarking to AI model contest. Now, this is something that I think you all will relate to very, very well, because we are seeing that competitors' models can leapfrog overnight. Now, in traditional products or competitive benchmarking, the focus was primarily on features or UX. Your customers or users will ask for a feature that they find interesting in, let's say, a competitor's product or a similar user experience. It happens quite frequently in the B2B enterprise world. Now, on the other hand, analysts, for example, also compare feature sets one on one. Remember the black and gray Harvey balls? However, in AI products, this operating landscape is a very fast moving one. A new model or data set can make your solution obsolete very, very quickly. For example, let's take example of Instagram and TikTok. Now, Instagram got inspired from TikTok's features very, very quickly. Short videos, infinite feeds, creator tools. But TikTok's secret weapon wasn't features. It was superior recommendation algorithm. So Instagram's feature parity didn't matter. The model gap did. So your competitor might not beat you with features. They beat you with better models. So what's the takeaway here? The takeaway here is that features age slowly and models age overnight. And what this means for you as a product leader is that your competitor's model might be a threat, not their UI UX. It's about data, models, and most importantly, the speed of iteration. Shift number 9, privacy as a compliance to privacy as a differentiator, because data ethics and trust become core product value with AI products. Now, in classical AI products, in classic products, in traditional products, you treat privacy as a regulatory checkbox, right? And you always almost try to find a way to navigate around it or just do basically enough. However, in AI products, you rely on data. So privacy, security, and bias mitigation are critical for trust. Leaders must treat responsible AI as a product feature, as a core product feature, and not just a guardrail. For example, Apple Siri versus Google Assistant. Now, Apple took approach of on-device processing for Siri. By doing that, Apple turned privacy into a competitive advantage over Google. Now, Google may have the better model, but Apple positions privacy as the core value as all your data stays on the device. Now, this made privacy a product differentiator, not a compliance burden. Therefore, when building AI products, responsibility, privacy is a non-negotiable, and many a time it's a key differentiator. So the takeaway here is that responsible AI is now a product capability, and trust must be part of your core value. And the last one is about moving from intuition or intuition first to data plus intuition hybrid. Because the challenge is that AI can surface patterns that humans cannot predict. So you must balance your instinct with the model insight. In traditional or classical products, strong PMs rely heavily on intuition and, most importantly, deep user empathy. However, in AI products, you may produce insights that human can't foresee. So AI product decisions are often unintuitive. Models may surface patterns no human would guess. So therefore, leaders must combine human judgment with data-driven evidence to make decisions. Let's take example of Spotify's Discovery Weekly. Now, no PM could intuit which 30 songs a user has never heard but will love. So what happens? Basically, it's a two-step process. The AI will propose the candidate songs, and then the human intuition tunes it by sequencing, mood balancing, genre diversity, pacing, etc. The magic is in the combination of model insight and editorial intuition. So you must think about human in the loop processes around your product to bring these two, intuition and inference, together. So what's the takeaway here? The takeaway here is that the future belongs to leaders who trust both instinct and inference. So what this means for you is that the new PM superpower is blending intuition with model insight. To wrap up, so how do you lead AI products confidently? Product leadership in AI is different. AI changes how we build, how we measure, how we plan, and how we lead. So your job as a product leader is to lead learning systems, is to build cross-disciplinary teams, and to adjust strategy and processes based on model behavior. What this means is you need to shift your mindset from deterministic features into probabilistic systems, from silo teams to cross-disciplinary orchestration, and from static KPIs to AI-aware metrics. Basically, these 10 shifts form the foundation for leading AI products successfully. And if you can internalize these 10 shifts, you will lead confidently and not just reactively in the AI era. Let me give you the cheat sheet here. So to summarize, the classic product rules to rethink in AI era: AI does not change products. It changes how product leaders operate. The classical rules assume deterministic output, customer-driven feedback, predictable timelines, and feature-first thinking. However, AI replaces these with probabilistic outcomes, data-driven feedback, experimentations, cross-disciplinary workflows, and dynamic model behavior. So in this session, we covered 10 critical leadership shifts when leading AI products from classical products. And the leader who internalize these shifts will shape the next decade of AI products with the teams that build systems that learn, adapt, and improve at scale. And if you are one of those product leaders who is transitioning from classic product leadership to building AI products for the first time, take the learnings back to your teams. You will avoid 80% of the traps that you are about to fall into. With that, let me leave you with one thought: rewrite your playbook, because the leaders who adapt fastest will define the next decade of the product. And if there are other shifts that you have noted in your journey, please share. We'd love to hear and learn from your experiences. Thank you for joining. It was great to have you with us today. Thank you.